Do it with me, guys. Starting up a podcast. It's called Movie Schmovie. Talk about some movie. One is by Scorsese. One is by Russell. That's about all I got. There you go, guys.
That felt right, guys.
Yeah,
that
it
felt
did.
very right.
It did.
Welcome to episode 97 of
Hello.
Movie Schmovie.
97.
Hope everyone had a happy holiday. Now that we're back together.
Shoot.
You guys, good stuff.
Man,
Right.
amazing.
A lot of good gifts, good food, good family.
Heck yeah.
Some good movies, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll find out a
Well,
little
we'll
bit.
find out.
We're gonna talk about a couple of them, right?
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I guess before those feature ones, the big one, we're gonna be talking about David O. Russell's American Hustle and Martin Scorsese's The Wolf of Wall Street. Two of the bigger movies that we've all been looking forward to coming out this year, this season.
One tribute to Scorsese films and
then
one
one
actual
actual-
Scorsese
right.
film.
Right.
The best not made by him. Yeah.
Right.
But have you guys seen anything else in release that you wanted to mention before we get into that? I know you. I thought something popped up. Maybe that's going to be one of your favorite movies, right?
Her. Spike
Oh,
Jones
Her.
is Her. Starring Joaquin Phoenix, Scarlett Johansson, and Amy Adams. Whew. I mean, fucking Spike Jones. He really knows how to cut to the core of me, man.
Did you
The
catch
visuals-
his little cameo in Wolf of
Wolf,
Wall Street?
yeah.
I saw him listed. Who?
He was the little guy with the bushy mustache at the little podunk penny
Interview when he went
stocks
in for the
place.
Penny stocks.
That was him.
Yeah, the guy who kind of gave him the idea
Oh,
for,
yeah. He also had a great reaction after he got hired. That was
Yeah.
also really good.
Yeah.
Wow, Spike Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which he also, now that I think of it, like what was the last thing? I guess he was in Three Kings, which is a David O. Russell film. Wow, the connections.
Oh, wow.
Never ends.
It's
Never
pretty
ends.
crazy.
But yeah, so you were saying about Her.
It was a great movie. It's beautifully shot. The thing is, I think we're getting to a point now we can tell which movies are gonna like affect each one of us in a way. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's gonna disappoint you, but like the draw is so you could tell what's gonna draw each one of us in. And this is one of those movies. I saw the trailer. I knew I would like at least the premise of it and the way it was shot, and it delivered in pretty much every way. It's amazing to me that a movie could be so dynamic and just take place a couple places and take medium to extreme close shots most of the movie and still affect me the way that it did. And it's just one of those movies. Scarlett Johansson being an operating system that Joaquin Phoenix kind of takes on and falls in love with. It feels like a mix of Lars and the Real Girl and what was the other one? Black Mirror. There's this show Black Mirror that we're kind of into, this UK show about technology and how it affects people. It was a really powerful movie, and it's amazing to me that Scarlett Johansson, just being a voice for most of the film, has such an amazingly expressive voice. And now it was something I noticed before, and stuff like Ghost World, like just hearing her voice when she was really young, and then hearing it now. It's just a really good movie. I think you should see it.
So it just clarify for me. It's sort of set in the not the distant future, but the near future.
Yeah.
Is it one of those things where the technology is just a little bit more
It's
advanced?
just a little
than
more
ours?
advanced. Dictation is a lot better then, but yeah, it's like really not that far off. Like it's really like they're regular cars. It's just that the operating systems are a bit more advanced. Like it's like Siri to the max. And this gentleman just got out of a really painful divorce and is alone, and he seeks out this operating system OS1, and it becomes his partner in a lot of ways. And it's really cool how the evolution of this operating system is gradual, and his love for her is gradual, and then it's cool. It's a really nice. It doesn't feel forced. All of it. It's paced very well. It makes me appreciate where the wild things are.
Well, I was just going to say, I think Spike Jonze's movies are always they're kind of emotional in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like there's an intensity and almost like kind of almost a depressive quality to some of it. But I remember in Where the Wild Things Are, the emotions in that were so raw. And this looks like it could be like a heartbreaking movie, but from what I've heard, it's almost kind of an uplifting
Yeah.
movie. So I'm excited to see it.
He has this thing where like, and I didn't realize it until I'd say, did you see the short that he did about the robots that fell in love with each other?
Yeah.
He does this thing where like, there's like this underlying thing where I don't know if this is like a belief of his, where he believes that like most of us are pretty unhappy. And we kind of find these pockets of happiness. And when we do, it's almost like we overindulge. Like it, and that's something that I think is pretty amazing about us as human beings, is kind of the overindulgence and love and the idea of it, and it's a cool concept, and it's kind of a recurring theme in all of his movies and all of his videos and everything I've ever seen. It's like this selfless passion about everything, and that's how I think a lot of people live. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be in my top 10.
Wow.
I'm seeing it. I'm seeing my top 10. And I saw Anchorman too.
I was gonna say I've seen a movie that I know won't be in my top 10, but I don't want to dog Anchorman too much, just because it's a comedy.
Yeah.
And I think we were talking about this just before we started recording. That if there's a zillion jokes in it, and if about half of them fall flat, that means you're still laughing
it's
at
still done
a
pretty
half
well.
a zillion jokes. So it's in that sense, I mean I did find myself enjoying bits and pieces of it, but it didn't feel like utterly necessary in a sense. Like it didn't really add anything to the luster of the original movie. It was good to see those actors playing those roles again. Steve Carell, still very funny as Brick Tamland. Still like great at saying those sentences that aren't sentences somehow, you know.
Yeah.
And Kristen Wiig is very funny. Their little scenes are funny. There's lots of little threads that are funny, but the movie felt like it had every idea they had just kind of thrown in and strung together. And I guess even though, you know, the first one is no classic film in terms of its plot structure or anything like that, this one felt a little bit more kind of shaggy than that. And so I would have liked to have seen, you know, it probably could have been, I feel like we say this about everything, but it probably could have been about 20, 30 minutes shorter.
It really could have. Like, seriously, it could have been like 40 maybe.
And I would hope they would just cut out 30 minutes of the jokes I didn't like and keep all the ones that I did.
Scrap all of
But
them.
I know several people that have said they just laughed throughout. So I think that the one thing people seem to agree about with this movie is that it's funny. Where does it sit in the sort of, you know, it sort of seems to be agreed upon that Anchorman is the best Will Ferrell movie, the funniest. So where does Anchorman 2 sit? It is not the second best Will Ferrell movie. It's somewhere down the list. I would say it's still, as far as his collaborations with Adam McKay, it's not as funny as Talladega Nights.
Yeah.
Not that you have to rank everything that way, but when a movie comes back after 9 years, you do sort of wonder what idea they've got up their sleeve.
Sure.
I was a little bit disappointed how many of the jokes were just taking a joke from the first movie and changing it a little bit. Like I thought they were going to avoid that kind of rehash comedy sequel stuff, and they did a little too much of that for me. But even in those moments, there were still funny bits. So it's hard to have too much ill will against a movie that is really just designed to be silly and kind of make you giggle, you know. And this one definitely did that. I know you liked Megan Good.
Yeah, I thought that Megan Good was pretty good. Like, especially since I don't really like her and everything. I thought that it was a cool choice, especially since her as a comedic actress is not really one of those things that you expect.
I don't even know what she's been in before. What?
Man, I don't know how else to say this. A lot of black movies. That's really it, man. Not to be a dick, but that's true, man. It's like all those like movies that you see with rappers in it, and yeah. So I don't know.
Well, they kind of picked her. She's not like a straight up comedian, which reminds me of the way when they used Christina Applegate in the first movie. It wasn't, apparent like was she going to be able to kind of play in this world with all these crazy comedy actors, and she did well. And I thought Megan Good was good. I thought Greg Kinnear.
Greg Kinnear was really
funny, and especially the way his character kind of develops and what happens with him. I thought that was sort of unexpected.
Can we admit that Megan Good is a brick house?
There were moments where I was shocked. I was like, is this movie in 3D? And I only noticed it when she's on screen.
It's very crazy. Very crazy. She's a brick house. She is a.
Did you think? Go ahead.
Brick.
Go ahead. Okay. Did you think that the villain was necessary? I thought that in this movie that the villain plotline just was like a wet fart. It just meant
it was so stupid.
It was like one of those comedy villain plots, Steve, where you have to have like a nasty businessman behind the scenes, and it felt so much like the type of character they would throw in like in a Wayne's World movie or something. But like it's almost like you can even tell in the movie they knew they didn't need this character because he's really only in a couple of scenes and you don't really care. It's just almost like as much as I'm saying the movie felt kind of shaggy and overlong, I would still say almost the less plot, the better in one of these Will Ferrell movies.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But
I saw Riddick.
oh,
Man, surprisingly good.
that's what I've heard.
Only because, all right, so
That's what my friend Ronald told me.
if you relax, a little bit and watch it and take it for what it's worth, it's a sci-fi movie that feels a little like 90s-ish. It's a really solid movie. It was shot shoestring budget, $38 million. I mean, considering
Oh yeah,
how much a lot of those, Vin Diesel had to like put up his house for the last.
I like the spirit of that movie
Yeah,
because I
it's a
think
good-
he didn't like the fact that Chronicles of Riddick got. I mean, I don't really like Vin Diesel, but he keeps doing these heartwarming things. Like he's sort of his heart's in the right place, I think, with a lot of these movies he wants to make. And I think he wanted to make another Riddick movie, and he knew that the studios weren't going to bankroll it at that level again. I just think it's so neat that they made it anyway.
It was
No
solid.
one was sitting there drumming their fingers waiting for the next Riddick movie, but they made it.
Think Dread. The way I felt the same way about Riddick as I did for Dread. Like it was kind of out of the blue. It felt good. It was funny. It was pretty solid. I saw Out of the Furnace. Out of the Furnace. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like I feel like this year. What is going on with this year and all these actors killing it? Intense movie. Did you see it?
No, I haven't seen it yet, but I
Have you
want
seen
to.
it?
Yeah, I did.
What did you?
I thought that I liked it. I thought that
I didn't love it.
I thought that there
I didn't
was
love it. I
like
thought it
a
was
really
really
big missed opportunity with it. I mean, I think that like with Christian Bale, Casey Affleck, just the cast, Willem Dafoe, Woody Harrelson, Sam Shepard, is awesome cast. I mean, Zoe Saldana is like in 2 scenes. Forrest Whitaker's in like 2 scenes.
Yeah.
It just seems like it's peppered with all these like big names and like they try to pull these characters in to be a part of the storyline. And it really didn't matter. Like, it really just comes down to it's like a revenge flick that felt like something from, like, it could have been a badass revenge flick from, like, the 70s or something.
Yeah.
It's what it felt like. And they were trying to say something else. And I thought the script was really bad.
You thought it was bad?
I thought the script was bad. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, if
like
it was-
good actors can make it look good. I
you're
feel
right.
like, and these are great actors that I think, like, made it look pretty good.
They did.
But I think that there's a lot of stuff that didn't work.
Woody Harrelson, like
He's great.
he was great, but
was
like
great.
it's the same sort of thing. Like I felt like he wasn't in it enough. Like he was a villain.
Yeah, sure, exactly.
He was in it like a couple of scenes, and he wasn't.
And in hindsight, the trailer for that movie is so deceptive. Like,
That's what I'd read that someone said. Someone said that that the trailer like sells this intense suspense thriller, but
Yes.
the movie's
No, it's
more of a
not.
drama.
yeah, everything
Yeah.
in the trailer basically happens in the first like 30 minutes, 40 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, not to like spoil it, but I mean, like, and then the rest of it is like that's where it turns into like the revenge thing. Like I gotta admit, like going into it, I didn't know that certain things that happened in the film were gonna happen. And they kind of surprised me that they happened so early in the movie.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
But it's like they build this relationship between him and Zoe Saldana's character. There's like all these shots of them in the trailer and the big Pearl Jam song playing. I mean, and she's literally in it for like 2 minutes if you count the screen time.
That whole
it's
thing
kinda
with
crazy.
him, with them made me so sad. It was sad.
I mean, and that's
That
what I'm
was
saying.
really
Like, there's like some really good stuff that could have been great. I think Christian Bale's incredible. I mean, I don't know what he does bad anymore. I mean, like he's so good. I
Yeah.
think he's one of my favorite actors now, and I can buy him doing anything.
Yeah, he
We'll
was
talk about
good.
American Hustle in a little bit, but I mean, even in this, like, just that, the steel worker, he's just like country guy. He knows 3 things. He knows that he loves his woman. He knows how to do his job, and he loves his dad or his family. You know what I mean? It's like that's simple, but he plays it so straight,
Yeah.
and it's just like I buy it 100%.
Yeah. If we could combine that movie and The Place Beyond the Pines, this felt like
That's what when
together.
you said everything in the trailer happens in the first 30 minutes,
Felt
and
like
you were
it.
surprised where it went from there. That's what I was thinking of. It sounds like
Felt
Place
like
Beyond
it.
the Pines.
Yeah.
I'll say that I liked it. I'd
I
say
liked it
maybe I'd give it
liked
like a 3 star, 7 out of 10 ish kind of thing for me.
3 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
Oh, I thought you said 3 out of 10.
3 out of 4 stars or 7. I don't know.
Oh,
Like if
yeah.
you want perspective, like I
Oh
like
yeah,
the
yeah,
scale.
yeah. I get that's a
You know what
pretty
I
good
mean?
scale. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
What Steve did was he gave you a couple of options.
You gave them to
He
me
gave,
rapid
he gave you
fire,
a 7
and
out
I
of 10
processed them.
and a
all.
3 star. What he should have said was 3 stars out of a possible 5. 7 out of 10.
You hit me
or
with it so fast.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Sorry, my
That's
apologies.
fine.
Yeah.
3
I don't know. I mean, I think it's good that I saw it later because I know that if I had seen it when it was like my expectations were higher, I probably would have felt a little differently about it. But I wanted to mention a movie real quick. I saw a documentary. I've been basically browsing all these like online blogs and writers that I follow and just people that I value their opinions, like these different end of year lists, but like non-traditional ones that aren't just like my favorite 10 movies. It's like some of these sites have things like, the best short films, the best action films, the best docs or whatever. And a documentary, those are some of my favorite, like, that's what Netflix pays for, you know what I mean? Like, but I mean, there was a list I found. There were some really cool documentaries that I never heard of this year that I was able to watch over the past 2 weeks. And one of them was called The Crash Reel, who is it's directed by Lucy Walker, who I only recognized her because she had a documentary that came out in 2002 called The Devil's Playground, which was about like the Amish kids in Rumspringa, I think it's called, like when they basically go out and have their rite of passage and decide whether or not they want to commit to the Amish lifestyle and whatever.
Oh wow!
And they are like heathens, like they like drink, drugs, sex, like it's hardcore. But that movie's awesome. If you've ever seen it, I would recommend to watch that. But this film is really great because it's a documentary about Kevin Pierce, being a fan of snowboarding and action sports and skateboarding and things like that. I recognized the name and I knew about what had happened to him about 4 years ago. This is a kid that was basically there was Shaun White and there was Kevin Pierce. Like they were neck and neck and they were like 1-2 all the time and friends at one point even. But he basically had an accident preparing for the Olympics and basically like had brain damage and he basically had a concussion and he was basically paralyzed for a while and he worked his way back and like he's a better man now and he's not really competing anymore, but it's a really great documentary about like just the human drive, like coming to terms with what you can and cannot do after things change in your life. And just a really cool expose on just like that whole sport. And they really kind of takes an interesting turn later on in the film when they talk about how that's like one of the only sports where there's really no real insurance for these athletes. They have tons of sponsorships and they win all this money with these tournaments and tons of branding and their helmets are covered with stickers and everything. But when something bad happens, basically they're like, they don't have insurance like, some other athletes do,
right.
With players associations and things like that. So it's a really cool look at that too. It's kind of sad because it's like this is a talent that never really got realized. But it's a really really good documentary. If you like sports docs and some of the footage of him snowboarding is just incredible. That some of it was part of promotional things, but some of it was like footage that they shot for this film. But yeah, it's called The Crash Reel, and I think it's on a couple of different streaming services. But I think it's going to be coming on Blu-ray shortly. But yeah, so that was one of my favorite documentaries of the year. And the only other one I wanted to mention that I saw, I was going to bring up Out of the Furnace, but you beat me to that. I also saw The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. We talked about it a little bit before the podcast, but I just want to say it's not as bad as people are saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that this
Well, where do you
film
think that is coming from?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, I think that it's didn't get the critical review or critical response that I think a lot of people were. Both critics themselves, I think, were looking forward to maybe like having I think we even talked about it. You mentioned it, John. Like this was Ben Stiller's like legit effort film. Like this is going to be like the one that maybe made him legit.
Yeah.
Like we were having that realization that we were fans of Ben Stiller's, and the trailer was great. But I just think it's not the movie that the people were expecting it to be.
I mean, the trailer looked like it could be sappy.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people have been responding to just from what I've read is that I think people wanted it to be more clever or funny or subversive or something in keeping with what seems to be the kind of favorite flavor of Ben Stiller. And I don't think people are quite ready to take him or quite willing to take him in that kind of leading man role where you're just supposed to sort of feel for him the whole time,
that's it.
Even though as an actor, I mean, he clearly is drawn towards that type of role from time to time, so...
No, that I think that's what people aren't willing to do. I think you're right. I think it's just you're not watching him be like silly or like these fantasies that he has to escape from reality. They're not like they're fun. They're just not like zany. Like they're not like off the wall things. And they're basically things that like you or I could just think up. You know what I mean? Like stream of consciousness. Like you see a billboard that has something on it like it's like a mountain man or something like that, and you just imagine something you in that role, and that's pretty much what he does. He doesn't have any like crazy laughs in the film. I did really like Kristen Wiig though. Like I think I do like her, but I don't know. Overall, I've never really been blown away by her, and she kind of plays it straight in the film. And I mean, I think that's kind of cool because you almost like expect her not to, and I thought that was kind of nice that she was kind of just like the love interest that is like the only thing that kind of encourages him to like go from these imagination scenarios to like actually maybe living a couple of those things. And that might be where people aren't liking the film. But yeah, a lot of people that I know and friends of mine straight up said that it was boring, like that it was slow, and that somebody was even mentioning like that they were going to walk out. But I think it's just ridiculous. Like, I think you were in the wrong film.
Do you think maybe they were going to walk out because the movie had inspired them to go on an adventure?
To go on an adventure that didn't involve watching this movie anymore. Maybe. I mean, maybe they misread it or completely missed the clue. But I don't know. I just, not to sit on it too long, but I just, to defend it a little bit, I just thought it was better than a lot of people were hating on it about, or you know what I mean? It's just, I just think that people don't know the marketing's kind of weird for it, and it doesn't get too funny, and it doesn't get too serious. It tries to straddle that line a little bit, and some of it just falls flat, but I mean, visually, I think it's great. I mean, I think that a lot of the special effects and some of the set pieces are really beautiful.
I even read a really harsh review that said that they still encouraged people to go to the theater to see it just because of the photography of the scenery and everything in the last half.
It's gorgeous, like especially when he goes like international, like to Greenland and Iceland, and some of the shots on the ocean and things like that are really beautiful. There's a really cool scene where he like gets a hold of a skateboard and just like skateboarding down this road through like I don't even know if it's like the Himalayas, or I don't even know where he was at that point. I think it was Iceland, but it's just gorgeous. I mean, and the soundtrack's really good too. So I mean, if you like the trailer, I mean, that's kind of what the movie is. It just doesn't, the thing that goes against it is I think it just doesn't go too far into one or the other, which probably would have benefited it either for people that wanted that comedy or somebody that wanted something a little more subverted, like a more dramatic, like character study of this guy, like coming out of his shell kind of thing.
The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. It's a very short story.
Yeah.
And so even when it was adapted decades ago, it was that they had to really pad the story out to adapt it into a movie. So the fact that this movie has survived in so many different incarnations and been cast with so many different actors over the years, to me just says that people really want to make a movie that has the name The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. There's almost nothing. I don't see what else that says to modern day audiences except just, oh, it sounds kind of interesting. I don't think that the audience that they're intending this movie to be for, I don't think that they're people that have like been waiting for the adaptation of the James Thurber story, but I might be wrong.
So yeah, that's a lot of movies that we saw.
A shit ton.
On top of the movies that we saw.
On top of the movies that we saw.
Yeah.
Which one are we going to do first?
American Hustle, of course.
I don't know. I disagree with you completely, Ronald. This is where I walk out.
John, come back.
Hello, I'm Elliot Greenbottom from merry old England.
I love that. I love Greenbottom.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you too, my good sir. Fa. Well, we're going to talk about American Hustle, a movie I think we all very much liked, right?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
So I know that we all liked Silver Linings Playbook last year.
Yes.
And I think in general, we're sort of David O. Russell partisans. We tend to like the movies that he does.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that he brings to a movie that is so unique? Because I don't think the story of the movie or the script of the movie is necessarily the greatest thing in the world, but it gave these actors such a great playground to play these great characters.
Yeah.
And then I think David O. Russell, somehow, he's just got this ability to wrestle all of that stuff into a shape that is like funny and unique, and it feels like a mainstream movie, but it also kind of feels like an indie movie.
I think recently, in the past 3-4 years, his most recent films, it's become a lot more accessible too.
Yeah.
I think some of his older films, not even that they're old, but like Flirting with Disaster, or like I Heart Huckabees, I thought were great films, but I don't think they had the appeal that like this film or like Silver Linings or even The Fighter did.
I agree, but I would say that even Flirting with Disaster at the time, it was what made it seem special when it came out was that it was more accessible than a lot of indie comedies of its time.
I mean,
you know what I mean? If you
perspective
compare it,
yeah, sure,
you know what I mean? So,
sure.
and I would say maybe the same thing about I Heart Huckabees. For a weird movie about philosophy, it's actually a very accessible, kind of fun movie. But I know what you're saying. That It really does seem like since The Fighter, he's been in this kind of Oscar territory, which is a little strange.
He's on a run.
One of the things that he tries to capture that I think that a lot of people don't necessarily is dialogue. I think that's what separates kind of indie stuff from a lot of mainstream, where you don't have all those elaborate set pieces and stuff like that. You have dialogue to make up for that. That's the thing that drives it. That's what kind of makes Quentin Tarantino movies so I don't know what people are so amazed by this idea of kind of putting dialogue ahead of set pieces and all these crazy things happening around you. That's what it used to be. That's what it should be.
Yeah.
And the fact that these movies capture these amazing pieces of dialogue, whether they're absurd or relatable, it's something about what David O. Russell does with every movie I've ever seen him do, where he captures this piece. Like whether you believe in any of the things that are happening, that these two people that are talking, or these four people that are talking, these four people that are arguing, that this is something that feels very real and genuine and shitty, and it pulls you in. So I don't know. This movie felt a little more formless. It felt a little more like I Heart Huckabees.
We were talking about it tonight before
Yeah,
we
yeah.
started recording, that it's a character study even more so than a kind of epic, whatever you would call it, crime film. Like, it definitely has, we've commented on it, a lot of people have commented on it, that American Hustle feels like the best Martin Scorsese movie that Martin Scorsese didn't make.
Yeah,
Sure.
And it feels like a love letter to those types of films.
Oh yeah, it does.
But it doesn't necessarily have that type of story at its core. And in the moment, you would really feel for a certain character, and then a couple of scenes later, you would be kind of rooting against that character because of another character, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that the movie really does, even the narration gets handed around from character to character. You know, the voiceover goes from one character to another. It very much is a movie that seems like it's, rather than trying to show you the era or the crime, the sort of true life crime that provided the basis for the movie, it really seems to be interested in focusing on those human relationships.
Yeah, I mean, I think the cool part about it is, like, when you're saying with the narration, like when we get introduced to each character, there's a moment where you get like there's vital information that you're giving. It's not focusing on like necessarily what they're doing in life. It's more about them as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's kind of like the idealistic approach he takes to kind of building these characters, because you're kind of given some sort of perspective on like their struggle. Whatever, you know, whether it's Jennifer Lawrence's, you know, housewife, or Amy Adams, you know, his right-hand woman.
Mm-hmm. Who is incredible in this.
Yeah.
I mean, and everybody's
you're
been
given
saying
perspective
that,
on
but-
like what they're trying to do. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not plopped down and where do they play into this whole scam that's going on. What you know about going into the movie, it's more about, I really enjoyed knowing about this person and like what they are struggling with, because what they are struggling with is what's motivating what I'm going to end up like. Well, what I did end up loving about the third act of the film. You know, what changes in Amy Adams and Christian Bale's dynamic. It's like a roller coaster, those two, through the whole film.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And their relationship with one another, and also with Jennifer Lawrence, is absolutely amazing, I think. I guess how different they are, you know, how madly in love with he is with her for one reason and the next girl for the next.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing, you know, like, and you totally buy it, or at least I did.
Well, I've said to a couple of people that Jennifer Lawrence plays a role that in the wrong hands could have easily been a really shrill, annoying character. That so often in these movies, you've got the guys, the exciting woman that's entered into his life, and who and we're talking about Christian Bale's character who plays Irv Rosenberg. What's his name? Let's get his name right.
Rosenfeld.
Irving Rosenfeld, who has a wife at home, but he's met Amy Adams' character, who is, I mean, I remember her fake British name, which is Edith Greensley, but
Sydney.
Sydney,
Yeah.
Sydney Prosser, and Lady Edith Greensley, who is based on a real person with a different name. But like when Sydney comes into Irv's life, you don't really know anything about his home life yet. And then when you meet his wife at home, I mean, Jennifer Lawrence definitely plays a frustrating character, but she just feels real, and she's kind of funny, and she's kind of sympathetic, and she's got some little riffs that she goes on with the dialogue that just kind of humanize her. And so by the time you're invested in this movie, rather than seeing her as like a fly in the ointment, you see her as a person who you sort of are kind of hoping that she's not just collateral damage in this situation, even though she's a messed up individual. And I guess every one of the characters is like that. They're all messed up, and they all have a moment or two that shows you something inside of them that you kind of want to protect, and you kind of hope the story doesn't destroy. Even Bradley Cooper's character, who's kind of an aggressor and as much of an antagonist, I guess, as the movie has, even with him, you sort of feel for his desire to like make a name for himself. Is he FBI or CIA? FBI agent. He's plays an FBI agent named Richard DeMazzo, And his ambition is to really make a name for himself by cracking this case, this app, which I guess is, again, it's all very murky to me what was actually going on, but it which is so funny to see this movie and then Wolf of Wall Street, both of which require you to have this kind of intricate understanding of the ways that people can be conned out of their money in seemingly legitimate ways.
Yeah.
It felt like the people that were getting bilked out of their money in American Hustle were more culpable, or the whole premise is they're trying to get loans that they wouldn't otherwise be approved for, and so they send some funds out to get somebody else to free some more funds up. The one thing the movie didn't make clear to me is, how does Irv not have like a line of people outside his door every day asking about their loan? Did we just not see the scenes where everybody comes to him after or is it just it's accepted that it's a high risk situation, and if you don't get it, you don't get it, and
I
that's
think
it?
so, and I think there's a point where he actually says to her, and even in a couple of the exchanges that you see him having with these guys that are trying to get the loans, he says flat out, like, I don't guarantee you, this is not guaranteed,
Right.
like, this is that you have my services, you have my word that I will try.
Yeah.
That's pretty much his selling point. I think that's maybe how he gets away with it. But I know what you mean. Like, you don't ever see that scene where everybody's knocking on his door, like, where's my $5,000?
You don't come to get that full understanding of it, which again, is more part of what I was saying before, is that the movie's much more interested in these characters and what being what being a bunch of liars means when you have to have trust amongst each other,
Sure.
And I think that the way that certain scenes would play out, and you would kind of see one angle, and then you would learn something that would change your view of that scene, like the way that opening scene played, when you just get introduced to the characters, and then we go back in time and we find out how they all met.
Yeah.
That scene makes, like, everything that was mysterious about that opening scene, you understand all the underpinnings of that scene by the time you get to it. Louis C.K. also was very, very good in a very underplayed role, and he actually has kind of a nice moment. Again, a good example of a character I felt for that was just, I just didn't want to see that guy get crushed by the story, and in the end, he has, he doesn't exactly win out or something, but he kind of gets to enjoy the downfall of another character who's been dogging him. But it's full of those. I mean, I think David O. Russell just understands the way that, like, he's supposed to be kind of an obnoxious jerk himself. I just think he understands the way that, and this is going to sound weird, but he understands the way that, like, obnoxious, high-strung, hyper-intelligent people interact with each other, and that there's this constant one-upsmanship. And different points in the movie, you kind of, like Bradley Cooper, like I said, who's an antagonist, there's a scene where you really feel for him because he's figuring out that he was more of a dupe than he thought he was, and you see the hurt in his eyes,
the realization.
Even when he's acting like a brute, you get a sense that there's a real person in there whose feelings get hurt.
Yeah. The characters felt okay. So the movie we're gonna talk about, I feel like the characters are a lot more fleshed out in this movie than the one we're gonna.
Everyone knows we're gonna talk about
we're
the
gonna
Wolf
talk
of
about
Wall
Wolves
Street.
of Wall Street. I think
Are you gonna talk about Wolves of Wall Street? Maybe you saw a different
The Wolf
film.
of Wall Street. So the more I talk about this movie, the more I realize that there is a lack of detail in a lot of characters that are in some of our favorite movies. Just a lack of fleshing out the characters. There's just a lot, like, it's like a cursory glance. You get to see the behaviors of the person, but seeing them interact with people and seeing how they affect things isn't quite something that you see all the time. And this is a movie that shows it. That creates something a little different for me. Now that I'm talking about it more, it places a lot higher up than I would have placed it before if I wasn't intrigued by. Sometimes I think I get more enamored with the idea of Scorsese movies because of how elaborate they are, and I kind of like that this is kind of like a smaller slice of whatever world we're looking at, because I think that a lot of it is like pageantry. It's like a lot of like it's weird. I like the little piece of the crime. You know what I'm saying?
It's like the scope is more focused.
And because of that, I think that people miss things. Like, I think that it's really cool. Somebody's like, suck my dick. Like, they remember that from a Scorsese movie. But like the grand scheme is that there's a lot more to these movies than you're missing things. And Scorsese movies give you that thing that little kid that's 16 will love. That bro will love. It's weird. I thought about that as I left the movie.
Well,
theater.
I mean, like Scorsese, we're kind of jumping to Scorsese.
I didn't mean to jump,
but like Scorsese is like one of our great filmmakers. You know what I mean? So in
Absolutely.
a sense, he's got that kind of built up. I think what's interesting is, and what we were talking about before with David O. Russell, is that he's kind of developing into one of these
Absolutely.
huge filmmakers that might be. I mean, it might be that 20 years from now, people will be saying, "Oh, he hasn't made another one like American Hustle since then." Just the way people will talk about Martin Scorsese and Goodfellas. I don't think that David O. Russell quite has the cinematic control and the flourishes and all of that. But I do think that it's two different approaches. And what's funny is, and I guess I said this earlier, but I don't know if I said it as clearly as this, is that when watching American Hustle, it feels like it's a Scorsese film. But when you see a Scorsese film and then you kind of reflect back on American Hustle, you realize that there are certain things in American Hustle that Scorsese would never do, which is sort of like, in a weird way, let all these characters off easy.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm spoiling the movie too much to say that, like, you know, it's not a movie that's full of death and mayhem. It's a movie where it rewards your investment in the characters for the most part, as opposed to
it's a lot lighter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
It's
how
extremely
I
light,
see it.
yeah.
Like, I feel like he prefers to sit back and keep it light. I'm thinking about David O. Russell.
Right.
He kind of just keeps it more light, and he I guess specifically with this movie, maybe not so much with like Silver Linings, but he kind of just looks at these characters and like sees what they're dreaming to be, or to do, or to have, you know. And where with like Wolf of Wall Street, there's nothing light about their dreams, you know, the dreams that Jordan Belfort had, like you know, they're harsh and they're explicit and they're
he's like
gratuitous.
he's loathsome from the first frame of the film, right?
You know what's?
Whereas in American Hustle, you find yourself going, "Is there any way these folks can stay out of jail?"
Exactly. You're like when Irving's like really worried about Jeremy Renner's character, and you're like, and he's like, but he's a friend. Like, what can I do? Like, you're like, fuck. Like, I'm worried about that guy.
No, I love that the movie went there because so often, again, it's like if this was a Scorsese film, the Jeremy Renner character who is Carmine Polito is his name. He's also based on a real guy. But he's like a mayor who is willing to do corrupt things if it gets more resources for his city. If it gets more, he's really trying to help the community. I mean, the movie never gives you any indication that he's not a decent guy who's really trying to do maybe the wrong thing, but for the right reasons.
Sure.
And you see how they even manipulate him and kind of pull him into it. And in a Scorsese film, that guy would have been a dope. Who we would have seen pulled off in handcuffs crying, and the joke would have been on him.
Yeah, and you wouldn't care.
But in this movie, you see that fate coming for this guy, and you find yourself kind of flinching because you go, "Oh, I really like this guy." And what's great is then in the movie, Christian Bale also suddenly announces that the thing you've been kind of hoping someone would notice is that, like, oh, wait a minute, that I like this guy, and it almost becomes the biggest stake in the movie is can the inexorable wheel that's turning forward, this whole plan that the FBI has in motion that's going to take some people down, can this happen and not just utterly destroy the one maybe decent guy at the heart of it? And the other thing I was thinking of you, Ronald, because I was like, I know you don't have much affection for Jeremy Renner, but I was
he
was
but
great
I
in
loved
this.
him in that movie.
When we saw it, he came out saying, "I love Jeremy Renner."
Love Jeremy Renner.
Okay, good.
Oh, but also I felt like the Wolf of Wall Street, the consequences weren't as bad as I thought they were going to be.
Well, as bad as these guys deserved.
Yeah. Which is a very cool message about crime and the way it's treated for, you know, white collar crimes. Like it's very different.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I guess we should.
Well, before we leave it entirely, let's just say a couple of things that we may have kind of touched on. But yes, Christian Bale's amazing in this film.
Amazing.
Like he manages to take that crazy elaborate comb over that he has and turn it into not just comedy, but a character trait that really says so much about the guy. The opening with him decking himself out for it's all about appearances, and this guy's appearance is almost. He's almost kind of gross looking. He's got bad hair. He's got a pot belly. Anyone with a pot belly, I have no respect for. But, you know, he's just like a paunchy guy, and he's like a guy who, she even says it about him at one point in her narration, Amy Adams does, that there's really nothing like outside he's got this magnetism, this charisma, and this confidence that totally overrides his physicality. I mean, he's kind of a schlubby guy. And I thought just seeing Christian Bale sink his teeth into that type of character, essentially a comic schlub role, I thought he was great. And I've in the past wondered if Christian Bale could do comedy passably well, but I thought he was really fine in this. And he and Bradley Cooper both have some great moments together, you know.
Bradley Cooper is like a Wedding Crashers level asshole in it, and
except even a little bit more like
more
like roided out.
It was weird. Like he played it so well. seeing him kind of slip in and out of like this extreme security in his situation, and then
Totally
having
vulnerable.
it slip
Yes.
from him and seeing it in his face, almost like literally having something change in front of him and seeing his face change. Right, I think that he doesn't get enough credit as an actor at all. He's fucking incredible. I thought it was great.
And maybe we've saved the best for last with Amy Adams and Jennifer Lawrence, but they really, I mean, Amy Adams has been getting a lot of great notices. The only reason why I felt even like I needed to say something about Christian Bale or Bradley Cooper is because I feel like every critic I've heard has been raving about Amy Adams, but she is that good. And there is something so interesting about the way this character plays off of all those things that she does that make her work in certain roles and not in other roles. It all comes into play here. That kind of, she's got that sort of, it's all about this woman who's trying to put forth these surface like impressions that get her through these situations. But there's some great moments in the movie where you see her watching what's going on and how things are changing, and you see her kind of scrambling to figure out what her next move is, because she's as much of an operator in this story as anybody else, and she actually kind of moves back and forth more than any other character. But I was fascinated with just what she was going to do and trying to figure out what her character was thinking of, because there was clearly there were wheels turning constantly with that character.
I didn't feel like the women in this movie were weak. And
No, they really
I
weren't.
thought that was really cool. Like, I like the idea that like these.
They basically held the play for most of what
They
happened.
did.
Yeah.
They did. Like they felt like equal parts in this situation, and even at a point where the wife gets thrown in, Jennifer Lawrence gets thrown in, and you think maybe she's going to be the weaker of them. Oh, okay. I want to say
Yeah, you worry about
You
her when
wonder-
she, when
yeah.
she
You
goes
wonder
into
how
that
she's gonna-
situation, and then she's so clear. She just pardon my expression, but she fucks shit up.
Yeah.
In a really interesting way that only a strong character could. You know.
I thought it was really cool that despite. All right, so I saw the trailer and I was like, Jennifer Lawrence is going to be the sex symbol in this movie. I couldn't have been any more wrong about who was the lead kind of sex symbol in the movie. Like, I thought it was so good, and seeing kind of Jennifer Lawrence and Amy Adams play off of each other.
Well, what was funny is you don't even think those characters might overlap, and then when they finally do, it's like
Yeah.
fireworks. You really can't wait to see what they're. I mean, because you almost worry. Like the only character that could really get the drop on either one of those characters would be the other female character. Do you know what I mean? In the sense that they both have. Yeah, it was very, very interesting. And I also, since we're talking about Jennifer Lawrence in that section of the movie, the fact that she and Richard Harrow strike up a romance, I thought that was great. It took me a second to get used to seeing his whole face. Yeah,
Like, oh,
and
okay.
hearing him not gonna like this.
I love the scene where like Jennifer Lawrence is at their house, where like Christian Bale like basically pegs her for what she's done, and she like just turns it around and is like, "You should be thanking me."
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, you're welcome. And you're just like, wow, he should probably thank her. Like, this is all because she fucked things up.
Why do I feel like that's what having an argument with the actual Jennifer Lawrence would be like? Supposedly they did improvise a lot of the dialogue.
She could do anything, and I
She
would
was
thank
so
her.
good in it.
Supposedly they improvised a lot of the dialogue in this. I think in some cases that really shows in a great way. I think there's some other cases where it felt a little bit like there's one line that Jeremy Renner has where he says that was something, he mentions coriander. And I just don't know that anyone said coriander before like 2005. I'm just not sure about that. But that's the only line that felt like, oh, that's Jeremy Renner, the actor, improvising as a guy who would never say coriander. But that was just the one thing that stood out to me. In general, I thought the improvisatory tone made the characters feel more alive and made those scenes of dialogue feel just like you were like a little bit more like you were eavesdropping, which again was a similar quality that Silver Linings Playbook had, with a bunch of characters just kind of bouncing off each other. But
I'm looking up like what David O. Russell has coming up, and he's apparently supposed to be directing a film called The Legacy of Secrecy, which is a nonfiction based on a nonfiction book about the shadow conspiracy of JFK's assassination, but with Leo DiCaprio as tie-in for Wolf, and Robert De Niro,
who is also, I think, a very famous. I don't think that we're spoiling anything. I would just say.
I was shocked when I saw that.
I would
His
say keep your eyes
appearance.
peeled in American Hustle.
Yeah.
You may see another actor who was
It
great
is-
in the last David O. Russell film.
It is truly like a little convergence of every great David O. Russell player
Yeah.
in the past
Yeah.
3 or 4 years.
Which seems to be another thing.
Marky Mark is missing though.
Another
Where was he? I was
Another
looking for
thing
him
that
to-
like that ties him to Scorsese is that thing, the way Scorsese will just find an actor and just use him. And it's like for the couple times back when Scorsese started using DiCaprio, I didn't like that so much. But now that I'm totally in Leonardo DiCaprio's back pocket, or his front pocket, he can put me in whatever pocket. I like the guy. I now see that as Martin Scorsese really finding a way to get a foothold in modern audiences' minds by finding this actor that, I mean, again, it took me a while to realize that Leo is as good as they say, but if you see Wolf of Wall Street, you will have no question.
Yeah.
He may be like the best actor. Is that possible? I mean,
God damn it! I hate saying that kind of stuff.
I think he is.
He is
I
one
think
of the,
he-
if
he-
not
he's,
the best.
I would say he has to be in the conversation in the top 3.
Of all-
Just all around.
of all time.
What
I'm
can
starting to
you
think.
do, and what can I believe you in? And I don't.
what are you going to bring to this movie?
Yeah.
Would be a
He
question you
is-
might ask an actor. And with
he
this
is
movie,
incredible.
yeah, and he brings the movie to this movie. I mean, like,
is.
there's moments. There's the comedy of this movie was what surprised me the most. The fact that it was legitimately as funny as it was, as much as it was. I think that we can also give a little tip of the hat to Jonah Hill, who's developing into a really good actor. I mean,
Yes.
like,
Agreed.
So
he's
good.
like, and he's that perfect. He's one of my favorite kinds of actors because he can fit into a dramatic situation and he can riff. And he can do his little asides, but they're in character. Like, you believe that he's a smart-mouthed guy who talks fast and thinks fast. And, I mean, between those two, there's a lot of other great... I mean, Kyle Chandler, great in this.
Yeah.
Great in this. And playing such an understated role, who's got a nice little beat near the end. Like, what happens with his character is really kind of interesting because he's trying to bring Jordan Belfort down, but you can see that Jordan Belfort gets to him. Like, there's no question at the end of this movie that Jordan Belfort gets to him.
That part, that part at the end. There's something really. The callbacks to things.
Sure.
The way that I think that character studies are a real thing, a real big thing. It's a real big thing to tackle, especially if you're taking on such a like.
So would you call Wolf of Wall Street a character study? Because I would say it's more like I don't know. It's like an epic. It's like an epic character.
It is
study.
an epic one. Well, it feels like.
There's-
You know. No, I'm
Good.
sorry.
No, good. I'm sorry.
In order for you to take someone who's so low and have them rise and have them fall again is a really hard task in a 3-hour movie, especially to do it well and to keep you entertained.
And
the
to go
fact-
3 hours with like no scenes that last
no
longer than 2
lulls.
minutes and no boredom in 3 hours. I don't know about you, but I didn't.
No, I was rocking the whole 3 hours.
It's amazing.
It's crazy to me that you can have a slapstick moment almost, and a serious moment, and a sad moment, and have you take all of these scenes equally as seriously.
Sure.
He is, man, god damn it. He might be one of the greatest actors of all time. Like not in any decade.
know,
But will
you
he
know
ever
what?
win an Oscar?
No, I don't think so. I don't think he's because of what
He's
movie
hitting his stride now.
This
maybe.
movie is not gonna win anything. It's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna win anything.
Well, the one problem I have with the it does seem to me like if you're looking at all these movies that we're looking at, that we say these movies are great, like something like 12 Years a Slave might have a shot, but in a weird way, I think that it's still too risky. I could see I could
I know
see
what you
the Academy voting for the quote unquote safe choice over 12 Years a Slave.
What's the safe choice?
I don't know if it's not American Hustle.
It is
year.
American
Oh
Hustle.
yeah.
I mean, you look at the pedigree of the actors, you look at the record of everyone involved. Last year, a very big showing at the Academy Awards.
It's American Hustle.
So American Hustle then becomes the safe choice over Wolf of Wall Street, which is insane to think that Martin Scorsese at 70 is making a more subversive film than David O. Russell. But it is. Wolf of Wall Street is a darker, more
it's
subversive
going to be an
film.
interesting Academy Awards.
David O. Russell is better at capturing the soul of the characters.
I think that, what I said before about the way that the mayor character would have been treated by Scorsese. I love Scorsese, but his morality is very harsh, and I think he has a very dark sense of humor.
He would have been like, he got
And
shot
I think
in the
that in
head
his
2 months
mind,
later. He would've-
right,
He would
exactly.
have just written him off. So
The way that Paul Thomas Anderson, like at the end of Boogie Nights, he shows what happens to the one guy who was a pedophile, and there's just no mercy shown to this character. He's like in prison crying while someone's raping him or whatever. Right. I think that Scorsese has that kind of bone in his body, that where he wants to show you like the punishment of these people you've been watching, whereas David O. Russell, maybe to a fault, wants, like, again, maybe because he is a jerk, has more compassion for difficult people. But I think that, like, it's so interesting to see a movie that kind of is a tribute to a Scorsese film, and then see a movie that is Scorsese seemingly doing a tribute to Scorsese. Like, you know, I mean, Wolf of Wall Street he has to know that that's a style that he doesn't operate in every time. But when he does, it's just exhilarating. I mean, that's a word I wrote down in my notes. It's just an exhilarating movie to watch. And when you get to that part where Leo's on the... he's taken the Quaaludes and they've kicked in, and he's got.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
And I didn't know that Leonardo DiCaprio could do that kind of physical comedy, like amazing physical comedy.
It's like slapsticky, and it still
Get
feels.
him off the phone.
And it's so well done.
And then when he gets to the house, and Ronald actually had to take his pee break while the hilarious moment where Jordan Belfort revives himself by like dumping a vial of cocaine in his nose. The Popeye moment was fantastic and a great culmination to that scene, because when he gets there and it's like, okay, we've been laughing at Leo in this state, and then when he gets there and now we get to enjoy Jonah Hill doing his version of the same thing.
Right.
That's like both hilarious and like an acting tour de force, that scene, you know? So it's how they balanced all those elements. Like, I don't know. I'm sort of in awe of the tone of Wolf of Wall Street, you know? Like, the fact that it's so funny and so fast and still so kind of thought-provoking about these people that we sort of allow. Like, we know that there are people like that, and we just kind of allow, you know, we don't... You just kind of allow it. You don't. It's like I'm not investing money in penny stocks, so I don't worry about it. I don't think that is Wall Street in general. I think that a lot of bankers would say that that's a sliver of what happens on Wall Street. But we know that that's how a lot of people get bilked out of their money, is by these people like that. And it just confirms all your worst suspicions about the way these people feel about their clients. Like that one scene with Matthew McConaughey just lays it all out, and the rest of the movie just illustrates what he said.
There's and I think so here's the thing. American Hustle, to me, is a better movie in a lot of ways. However, this is the issue. Scorsese is good at creating legendary movies. Mm-hmm. This is a movie that you will watch with your friends 10 times over and will quote for the rest of your lives. That's the thing, man. Like, whether it's a and that might make it better in a lot of ways. Like, I think story-wise, American Hustle, it didn't have much of a story, but the acting in it is stellar.
I could see watching it again a couple times and enjoying it thoroughly each time, but I could see Wolf of Wall Street being the kind of movie that I would just put on.
I watch it a million times. I know that I will. I know that my friends will like it. I know that I can put this movie on in front of my mom and she'll love it. Yeah. Even though she hates gratuitous
the great thing
violence.
about it is because, and a lot of critics have been seizing on this idea, Ronald, that like if you could pin the movie for anything kind of negative, you might say, does it have its cake and eat it too? Does it try to celebrate this guy for the entertainment value of it? And while it's also kind of judging him, and I would say that is the subversive kind of nasty trick that Scorsese is pulling, but it is thought-provoking. Yeah. But I think that is part of what this movie does, is it forces you to sort of enjoy the spectacle of these guys and to kind of want them to do more crazy things because you want the movie to keep going. But it also is reminding you at every turn that they're awful people. That, like, from the word go, these guys, their goal is to do something reprehensible, and they do it well. And that just, you know what I mean? It's this. And the other thing I want to say is I love the little crew of guys that he starts with that are there till the end. I loved seeing those guys kind of develop. I thought I'm going to say the Asian guy and just sound like a terrible bigot, but what was his character's name?
Something Ming.
Yeah. But he was great. He was very funny, and I thought it took me a second to say that, to be for sure that was Ethan Suplee, but that is him. And he looks like he looks like an adult from when I was a kid. Do you know what I mean? He looks he looks like a little league coach or something like that.
Yeah.
There's just so many entertaining things about the movie. Like, whether or not,
do you feel manipulated?
Well, I don't feel manipulated because I can judge and say that I know these guys are assholes. But, like, I mean, I'm not in a position where I can, this is going to sound horrible, where I'm going to be able to do anything about it. Right, you know, like, I can, it's a movie to me. You know, this is somebody's story that was written into a book and that somebody optioned and they made a film out of it and they have some incredible actors and it's an incredible movie, in my opinion. Yeah. But it's not something that I feel bad about saying that I was thoroughly entertained by watching this guy get rich off of taking people's money, you know, cheating on his wife, punching his wife in the stomach, taking his child and driving into a brick wall. You know, these are horrible things. Yeah. He's a horrible asshole guy who has more money to this day probably. I mean, he's still out there making tons of money doing these inspirational. He does like these lectures. I've watched some of them on YouTube. Thing, like they reference it towards the end of the film, and he sees, like, Kyle Chandler's character sees the billboard on the train or the metro or whatever it is. But when you said earlier about, like, it's like he's a rise and fall, I don't ever think he really falls.
Yeah.
I mean, he makes a comment towards the end of the film when he's in prison. He says, "Then I remembered I'm rich."
Yeah.
And that's the fucking point of the movie. Nothing happens that really gets to him because he will always have this money. He found a way sort of to get out of these things.
The great thing is, it's almost like a perfect scenario, even for being on the outside of it and judging him negatively, because we can say that guy is like a lower form of life because all he cares about is money.
Yeah.
But he doesn't give a shit that we feel that way.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so it's almost like a perfect system.
He doesn't
You know
care.
what I mean?
He doesn't care that he cheats on his wife.
We get to dine on our moral outrage that people like him exist, and he gets to dine on whatever the fuck he wants and snort whatever he wants out of whatever hole he wants.
He gives us the convenience to be able to live through him for 3 hours. Is all I'm saying.
And the crazy part is, I know that everything he did was fucked up. It wasn't so fucked up that we completely detach ourselves from our love for him.
Well, caring what's next.
I don't think that moment happens until the end when they very definitely show him taking a turn for the nastier
and even that. Just think about what he could have done.
I think that you could hear the audience, like the intake of breath when
he did what he did.
When he did what he did, yeah. I feel like he also has a Walter White moment. I think we now know that whenever someone drives away with their infant daughter or their young daughter, and we know this isn't going to go well. That's a no, but I don't know. I agree, Steve. I think that to me that seems like that's the point of it. But I think that if we're supposed to wrestle with, do I feel bad for? I don't think that I feel bad. Like, I don't know why this movie just jumped into my mind, but do you remember that movie Funny Games?
Yeah.
Yes.
That seems like it's designed to make you feel bad for watching it. Like, it seems to want to make you feel bad for wanting to see this type of movie. I don't feel like Wolf of Wall Street is designed to do. I don't feel like Martin Scorsese is turning towards you, the audience member, and pointing the finger saying, you're a terrible person for enjoying this. I think he's saying, aren't these guys funny? Like, this is
ridiculous.
This is messed up and this is terrible, but on some level, isn't it also kind of hilarious that these people exist? I think that you can see he enjoys depicting these guys. And what I think is also interesting is just the sheer statement that's made by the fact that he depicts these financial guys in the same way that he depicts, gangsters and criminals and murder. Like, he doesn't, it's almost like he lets all the baggage we bring into a Scorsese film kind of do some of the work for us, or some of the work for him in the beginning of the movie, because we know these rhythms.
Yeah.
But I still don't think I've seen a movie that quite this way refracts the opinion you have of the character, because, I mean, he's guiding you through, and he's telling you the truth about every awful thing that he's doing, and he doesn't give a shit what you think.
Because it was his decision to do it.
Yeah.
And he had total power to do whatever the hell he wanted the entire film, for the most part.
Yeah.
And you're saying, okay, I'll watch.
Yeah.
I'll listen.
Yeah.
I'm in. I mean, because I fucking loved it. And I mean, I love, and with the Kyle Chandler part towards the end, and even like him when you see him in prison. I mean, just even the narration that part, that last thing he says, just about like, then I remembered I was rich. I mean, I just was like, motherfucker.
Yeah, right.
What a fucking way to end this movie. Like, you're like, oh man, he's playing tennis in a prison, and he's all down on being in prison for 3 years, and he really only served 22 months. But I mean, it's just like, what a realization. The one thing, I'm kind of subjected to being in prison now, but I'm still rich. And that's all I cared about the whole fucking movie.
Yeah. I wondered how his friends felt about him.
We're going to Monaco.
Betraying
that whole
him.
sequence was insane.
Yeah, that whole what the and just to think that a lot of this was absolutely true. The way they were in the offices was debauchery. It was gross, fucking like
getting penicillin shots on the weekly like visits.
Prostitutes just banging prostitutes,
and his
different levels of prostitute.
Red faced and veins popping out and stuff when he's I believed every second of that as far as that's how these companies operate.
Yeah.
It's interesting you were talking about the kind of statement of this movie is then I remembered I was rich. I did write down in American Hustle, I forget which character had this bit of narration, but they say that the art of survival is a story that never ends. And that was almost like, I remember thinking that was kind of the theme of that movie. The theme of Wolf of Wall Street is fuck you, I'm rich, basically.
That's it.
Yeah. And I would feel like that would be a dispiriting or empty experience to watch that, but I came out of that movie feeling energized. I mean, we saw a late showing of it last night, and it's like I was kind of wired, just sitting there thinking like I don't know, it's very exciting. And it's amazing how many great films, like how truly great films. Trying to make my list, these two movies definitely jumped into the list after I saw them, and Anchorman 2 a little bit lower down, lower down the list. It's in that middle section with like John dies at the end and stuff like that. But no, I just think that
came out this year.
It's exciting to see. It's exciting to see movies it's exciting to see movies that are this good that have every right to be this good. Do you know what I mean? Like to see filmmakers working at near what might be the top of their powers with great talent. And the one thing about, even though I think David O. Russell is a great director, I did find myself thinking about American Hustle, that those actors could elevate any material.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you happen to have really good material. And then you look at something like Wolf of Wall Street, where clearly it must have been geared around what DiCaprio could do. But I mean, I feel like every inch of his talent is in that movie. You know what I mean? Like everything that he's capable of doing was on screen in that. And
I think he's not gonna win anything.
It's
I
strange,
still believe that.
Not this year.
Not this
He
year.
will sometime.
I hope
Yeah.
so.
Oh,
I
he
don't
has
know,
to.
man. I don't
has
know.
to.
I don't know if he, but he has something a lot bigger, and that's this legacy of unbelievable movie after unbelievable. His streak is unbeaten. I don't care what, you can't put him up with anybody at this point.
Oh, he's incredible.
He's untouched in terms of performances in the movies, consistency in movies. And I think there's something to be said about that versus these awards, these trophies that people try to attain that they may not get, but he'll always have this idea that people will hear his name and be like, he's the fucking best.
yeah.
And he does it with great company too. Keep that,
Oh yeah. Not to take anything
he's
away
like,
from.
I mean, like, specifically with Martin Scorsese, he's been in like 3 or 4 of his movies recently.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's great.
I think this was his 5th one.
A 5th one, okay.
Because I always forget about Shutter
being in
Island.
Tarantino, he's working with really great people. If he's in this David O. Russell film, like, he's very smart and he's incredibly talented, and like, there's no doubt he's one of, if not the best, all around.
Yeah.
Interesting though is I don't know that he's as bankable as a star as I thought he was.
I think you might be right.
Yeah,
because he does these odd, like, he seems to go with his own whims, and like he'll do something like Revolutionary Road, but it's never going to be a hit, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think he definitely is in films that are successful and that make a lot of money, but I don't know that he is. I don't know that he is the bank. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like like we were talking before about like Will Smith was like, write a check.
Yeah,
he'll get you $100 million.
If Brad Pitt was in it. I don't know, man.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just saying, like, I love Leonardo DiCaprio. He's one of my favorite actors for sure. I'm always really, really curious about, like, put him in a movie where like there's not a built-in like fan base to the subject matter or to the director or to another star. See if he really is the box office bank.
It's odd you mentioned Brad Pitt. I think he was originally attached to Wolf of Wall Street for a time.
I didn't know that.
And I had to really struggle to picture him. I think he could do it, but I don't know that the fast talk. I don't know. I just feel like Brad Pitt's talents are. I don't know that he would have been able to pull off some of the fast talking.
Don't ever question him again.
I think he can do it.
No, I love Brad Pitt.
No, I think of the character from Ocean's 11. That he was
yeah.
that kind of like the fast talker, smooth. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm just saying that I found myself being glad that it was DiCaprio.
Oh, absolutely.
When I read that, but it's also you read about that, like for instance, like Ben Affleck was originally attached to direct American Hustle too. So I mean, there's all these little, these projects are both projects that were kind of passed down and kind of went through different hands. But I think that what's really significant as well about Wolf of Wall Street that is worth mentioning is that the script by Terrence Winter, who the co-creator, one of the big writers and directors on Boardwalk Empire, and he was a writer on The Sopranos. I mean, I think that you can't say enough nice things. You can't say too much about Wolf of Wall Street without also giving credit to the script, which I think juggles all these crazy elements with a great pace. That movie just had a fantastic pacing to it. And did you hear that one of the reasons why it got pushed back from November was because they actually had to edit like an hour out of it?
Yeah. I'll watch that cut.
No, I'm hoping that comes out eventually. But I wonder if the decompress, if that would just feel like a more decompressed version of what we saw, or if there's stuff that got, you know what I mean? If there's actual character bits that got.
Can we take a moment and acknowledge the real eye candy of the film, Margot Robbie, his second wife, the blonde?
Oh, man, I think his first wife is. All right, so in terms of
no, don't talk.
Okay, listen.
You're not gonna say this.
Listen, in terms of real life, I'm talking about real life. Like
why are you worried about real life?
I'm just saying.
This is the fucking Wolf of Wall Street.
Before we get into the grossness of what I'm about, first, I'm thinking who I would marry in real life.
Yeah.
First wife.
Okay.
Second wife. What the scene with the kid where she's
in the room in the pink. Yes,
she was good.
I read that she actually beat out. Not that the first name mentioned would matter to any of us, but Kristen Stewart and Jessica Biel for that role. those were the three it was down
Jessica
to.
Biel.
I'm so
Oh
glad
my
it
God.
wasn't Kristen Stewart. That's all I
Oh.
can say.
Yeah, me too. But
Yeah.
I would have loved to see Jessica Biel.
Jessica Biel. I think
love
Jessica
her.
Biel would have killed it. I think she's a
She
great
she
actress.
probably got confused when Wolf of Wall Street. She was thinking it was kind of another Twilight sort of film.
I'll pass.
There's
on
no
that.
actual wolves
What,
in this
Jacob's
one?
not in this one?
Yeah, right. Are these
Jessica
shirtless
Biel.
wolves or are these?
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
Yeah,
She's gorgeous.
I remembered her from About Time, and she's not in that a lot, but I remember just being stunned by her, but seeing her so much in this movie, and so much of her in this movie, she's gorgeous.
The way that Leonardo DiCaprio's character reacted to her when he saw her in the pool party the first is the way that I think that everybody would have reacted, no matter who was around, wife or not.
Poor guy that brought her to the party, though.
I would say my reaction would be more like Jonah Hill's reaction.
That was a
that's definitely John.
oh man.
We could just say the movie's great. I mean, like, I don't know that there's much.
I'm always spontaneously masturbating.
There's never not a time when we're just like
Right.
off to the side and it's like, "Where's John?"
Oh, John again.
Put your dick away.
I'm just trying to get those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers.
But yeah, two great movies. I don't know which one. I'm still having trouble deciding which one I.
I
like
think in the end, I
more.
feel like Wolf of Wall Street did something more complete and more just that sticks with me more as a movie. But when I think about the individual characters in American Hustle, I can zap right to that moment in the movie where I felt for that character and where it was a culmination of the acting, the writing, the directing, everything else. Sure. I think that as interesting as it is to note the similarities between what David O. Russell is doing and the kind of typical Scorsese film, it's also really instructive to see these two movies so close together and see how different the two filmmakers really are. So in that sense, it almost seems, if we weren't about to come back in a couple of weeks and do our list of the best movies of the year, it wouldn't be a horse race at all. But now I'm trying to think like which movie, won my heart and mind more.
But speaking of that, we need to kind of give everybody a tease that we're going to be off next week.
Yep.
Oy.
And then we're going to come back the week after. We're going to start the new year with episode 98.
Shit. We're close.
We're getting close.
Oh.
But 98, we're gonna basically go through our favorite films of the year.
Yes.
It's gonna be a great episode. I can't wait. It's like probably one of my favorite episodes of the year. Period. I love going over the favorites.
Which is great because even though we talk about a lot of the movies, if not all the movies that we see, there's always a couple surprises when we find out how things shook out for each other. So.
Oh yeah.
who could ever forget John's number one, The Gray?
Nothing will ever be
Nothing
as
will
big of
ever
a
be.
surprise. And
that shook the world up.
I loved every moment of it.
Yeah, it was cool.
But we should
like
also
this year it'll be Lone Survivor or something. I'll pull out at the last minute.
God.
we'll make sure that we'll have the phone line going again if you guys want to call in.
Yeah.
To the 443-330-2462. Just leave a voicemail. The Schmovie line, Schmovie phone. With basically your favorite movie of the year. Just one movie. We'll try to put together like we did last year. Some of our listeners' picks and just maybe a brief reason why. You could say a favorite scene or whatever. But again, it's 443-330-2462. This will be for the episode that will be airing on
The 10th.
The 10th of January. So you have a little bit of time, but be thinking about it. You got some time, 2 weeks to go see the rest of the movies that you haven't seen this year.
And then just practice saying who you are, the name of that movie, and a quick reason why
There
you
it
loved
is.
it.
Yep.
John, you're so good at explaining that.
Sure. In fact, I recommend next Friday, January 3rd, when we don't have a new episode, listen to this episode again and just focus on that last part where we
Remind
gave you
yourself.
instructions. Yes.
But yeah, guys, awesome. Great times to get back together. Our little holiday season is coming to a close.
Yeah.
And some great films have come out at the end of the year. And there's still 4 that I need to see that I know I have to see before I can make my list.
One thing I'll say before we go, did you notice that now that we're watching, like when you're watching movies in the summer, the trailers are for all the prestige pictures of the fall. And then you'll go to see like the biggest, best movies of the year, and the trailers are for all the shit that comes out in January and February.
Yeah.
And Kevin Costner's in everything.
Yes.
How did this happen?
Where'd he come from?
like
He's in
making
that
a comeback.
Draft Day or whatever it's called. And then like the action movie where he's basically like Liam Neeson in Taken or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And then he's Jack Ryan's handler in whatever that movie is.
Whatever it's called with Chris Pine.
That's the what's his face?
Jack Ryan.
Tom
Clancy.
the writer, Tom Clancy movie. Rest in peace, Tom Clancy. Fuck. You'd gone. Call of Duty.
You
Fuck.
big fan of those books or just the games?
Just the games. Yeah. Fuck his books.
Yeah.
That was weird.
I think
don't know.
he actually wrote the books. So you're saying rest in peace, but fuck your work.
Fuck your work. Fuck your video. I love your video games though.
You love the video games that other people did based on his
Loosely
books,
based on you.
Loosely.
Loosely.
Loosely based.
You have a piece of loose leaf paper.
Loosely.
All right. As always,
We got that look.
you've made our day.